Hello everyone, my name is Reagan. Welcome to Bookmas Day 10. This is going to be another late video coming out. I am so sorry. I've had quite a hectic life recently, and doing a video every day on top of that has been quite crazy. So I have about 3 hours today to film and edit and get this posted before I have somewhere to be. So we're going to this is probably going to be a short one, but I want to do it because I want to do every day of Bookmas that's possible, and it's my own fault. Essentially, what's been hectic is, as you can probably see, my room is a complete mess. I moved out of my apartment back into my parents' house before I have to leave for study abroad in late January. So I've been in the process of moving, which is the first thing. Second thing, I had to go to DC to get the said visa for study abroad. So I've been out of town. And third thing, I'm currently in the process of, one, unpacking, and two, while we were in DC, we bought new bookshelves for me because I'm quite literally running out of space in my old ones. Essentially, I just have quite a lot going on and very little time to do videos. I had been pretty good about having a video prepared a day out so I wouldn't have to be rushing to post. Life got in the way, so here we are. I'm posting day of. Tomorrow is going to be my attempt to catch up on a lot of filming and editing, because especially filming. The movers are coming tomorrow and I kind of have to be here mostly the entire day, and I have to get ready in the morning. So if you see me in the same outfit in a lot of videos in the future, no, you didn't. Those are all the housekeeping things. Let's just get into what today's video is. Reading goals I'm setting in 2026 versus reading goals I'm not setting in 2026. This video is going to be a little bit of a reflection and also setting goals for the new year. I have my handy dandy laptop here with me today that has my Notion from last year, which has my entire digital library on it. Speaking of which, I haven't updated this in probably months. Like, I remember the last TBR I have written on here, Never by Jessa, Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow, Birthday Girl. So I read this probably back in August maybe, so I haven't updated this in quite a while, but we're going to go through for the sake of looking at my reading goals in the past and seeing my success and then setting some new goals. So we are in my digital library on Notion, and I have quite a few different pages, but the main one we're going to focus on right here today is going to be the reading goals section. This has the 6 reading goals that I had for the year of 2025. We also have a lot of other sections on here that I really wish I had kept up with. We have my 25 books to read in 2025, just some other handy things that I'm very proud of how I set this up. However, I didn't keep up with it as well as I did. So this year I'm trying a physical reading journal. Alas, I want to be more intentional this year with reading goals in terms of what I set and for why. I feel like last year a lot of my reading goals I felt like it was playing catch up. Like, my goal was to play catch up, to read all the series that were really popular so I could talk about them, and read a significant amount of books so I had something to talk about in content especially. I want to be more intentional. Same with my book buying habits. I felt like last year I was buying a lot of books that maybe I wasn't actually interested in, but I just wanted to say I have read in the booktube space or the book talk space or whatever. So I feel like I want to be way more intentional with my reading this year and really put effort into only reading things that I really want to read. And that is hard for me because I am a people pleaser to my core. I want to be what everyone wants me to be. So I want to have read the popular books, and I also want to read the books no one's talking about, to be new and different and have new opinions on things. But I need to get past that and just be like, hey, read what the hell you want to read. You don't need to set so many arbitrary goals for yourself that don't really matter. Past the philosophical talk. That sounds like not a real sentence. Past the philosophical talk, let's look at my reading goals. Read 50 books is the first one. I always set my Goodreads goal, or now it's my Fable goal because I've switched to Fable. If you'd like to follow me on Fable, it's down in the description. I would highly recommend, by the way, and this is quite obviously not sponsored, but I just like Fable a lot more than Goodreads. So I've switched. I still have a Goodreads account and use it occasionally for, like, they're better about new releases, so I look on for that, but generally I use Fable. Read 50 books, which I accomplished pretty much in June. I set the goal low this year because I was like, I have a really busy year. I don't know if I'm going to reach 100. Now my subconscious goal is 100, and I think I'm going to read it. I'm like 5 books off right now, and it's January 10th, which I could easily complete that. I just have to put my mind to it. Read 50 books. I will again probably set another goal similarly. Keep my current series below 10. I talked about this in my series video. I have currently reading series or up-to-date series, and I keep a series tracker, which will be transitioning over into my physical reading journal. Currently reading series means that there are books currently that are out and able to be read by me but haven't been, versus up-to-date series, more books will be coming out but they're not currently out and I cannot physically continue at the moment. So I wanted to keep my current series below 10 and really prioritize those new releases and those series that I wanted to read. I got that number down and have kept it down pretty much the entire year. Start the Boys of Tommen series was a goal. And this was a goal because, like I was talking about earlier, I bought all of the books, like every single book in the series without much intention. And then I had every book in the series before I'd even read the first one. So I was like, well, you have to start it this year and see if it's for you. So I started it, didn't like the first book, and I continued on and started to like the books more and more. So at this point, I'm almost up to date with Boys of Tommen series. I have releasing 10 left to read, so I met that goal. Read 50% of my starting physical TBR. So every year I like to keep track of my physical TBR at the very beginning of the year so that I can then reflect on the end of the year and be like, did I really read these books? What's going on with my physical TBR? Are we having a lot of holdovers, or is this mainly new stuff that I've recently bought? And I like doing it this way versus keeping track of the current number of my physical TBR because that fluctuates quite often. I'm more concerned about how long each book is staying on my physical TBR. I got through this pretty quickly, and part of it was I did a huge unhaul of a lot of books on my physical TBR because of the unintentionality behind my book buying purchases and my book buying habits. So I did a huge unhaul, and then I ended up really reducing that number to where it was attainable for me to read, because I think I had like 100 books on my physical TBR at the beginning of 2025, and then I really decreased that number. Currently, I think I have around 50 books on my physical TBR. All of them are pretty recently bought. I feel like I've done a really good job this year of getting books off my TBR that have been on there for a while. And if I scroll down right here like I'm doing, you can see my original physical TBR tracker, and you can see most of it is green and most of it is completed. At the beginning of 2025, I had 96 books on my physical TBR, and out of those, I've completed 70. I've either completed or unhauled 78 of them. So I've gotten through a huge chunk of that physical TBR, and some of the books that are still left on there I'm okay with or have been more recently bought. Finished Throne of Glass. I have since decided that this is a goal that I've not given up on but changed. I am DNFing the Throne of Glass series. I'm not a fan of it. I've tried to read it twice. I've read up until Tower of Dawn. I read through Tower of Dawn the first time I read it, and then I was waiting for Kingdom of Ash to be released. So this was way back when, it's not like it was really that long ago. I'm just being dramatic, but it was way back when the Kingdom of Ash still had been unreleased. So I was waiting for that to be released, and when it was released, I never read it, and I never cared to read it. I didn't really care to know the ending. I still don't. So this is a goal, another goal of like, I want to love the Throne of Glass series so bad. So I did a whole series on my channel rereading, doing spoiler reading vlogs for each book. So you can still go back and watch those if you want. But I decided that ultimately the series wasn't for me, and I was just kidding myself into liking it, and I wasn't going to do that anymore. So I decided we're keeping the DNF for now. I still have my copies if I want them, and I can read them someday, but I don't need to read them now. My last reading goal was romanticize reading paperback books again. I felt like I was really only reading on my Kindle, and that is fine. I don't know why I was so into this goal, because reading is reading, and this year I read a lot on audio because I simply did not have the ability to sit down and read most days. Like I've said many times on this channel, I had 2 jobs, was a full-time student, and also like had a life, hanging out with friends and things. As much as I am a homebody, I really tried to prioritize that this semester because I knew I was going to be so busy. So I really just didn't have time to sit down with a paperback book. I often was listening to an audiobook on the way to class or while I was at the gym or other things like that. And you know what? I still had a really great time reading. So as much as I would love to be able to sit down and cozy up with a paperback book, like that is one of my favorite feelings in the world. Sometimes it's not practical. And while I do feel like I really did good on achieving this goal this year, I feel like it's not probably going to be a goal for next year just because of the practicality, and half the year I'm going to be in another country and I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done. And so I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to be like, you have to read a physical book as much as possible. Always sit down and be reading. Like that's not realistic. It'll probably be the same as this second half of 2025 where I listen to a lot of audiobooks and read a lot on my Kindle, and that's okay. I have other things going on, and it's okay for me to have other things going on. Next, I have to talk to you about the goals I'm setting for next year. I feel like the goals are going to be a little bit less numerical in terms of my reading goal. Like I said, being intentional with what I read. Now, that doesn't mean I need to read like classics and general fiction that really makes me think. Like, that can be intentionality, but I mean intentionality of like whatever I'm in the mood for, I'm going to pick up. Whatever I'm feeling, whether that's a book that everyone's heard of or no one's heard of, I'm going to pick it up, and it doesn't matter either way. If I'm purchasing a book, I'm going to purchase it because I want to read it, not because I feel like I should have read it and therefore owned it. There's a lot of things that I just want to be more intentional about, and that doesn't necessarily mean the genre of books that I read. It more means the volume and the consumerism habits and I think you get the point. I haven't planned out what goals I want to read, so this is just off the rip, and I'm going to give you my very honest thoughts and opinions on what I want to do next year, and I'm going to write these in my reading journal. I think I want to set my goal again for 50 books, because especially next year when I'm going to be in France and traveling Europe for most of the semester, I don't want to have like niggling in the back of my mind being like, well, you are way behind on your reading goal, because that's just something else that's going to stress me out. Like, I know I will read while I'm there walking around the city listening to an audiobook. Like, I know I will read, but I don't want to have to complete a book every 2 days for me to feel happy about my reading goal and like I'm accomplishing something. I don't know. I've seen people, some people set it to 1, then you've accomplished it and you have no pressure. You can just read as much as you want. Maybe I'll do that, but I'm not sure. That's goal number 1. It's kind of an ambiguous goal. Goal number 2, like I said, intentionality. I want to read books because I want to read them. I want to look back at my wrap up in 2026, at the end of 2026, and be like, wow, I read all of these books because I wanted to. Not because I felt like this series is really popular on Book Talk right now. I would like to read it so I can give my opinion. And if there's books for videos, like that's fine. But I don't want to be constantly buying and reading books that I have little to no interest in just because they're popular. I'm not saying that they're not good, but there are some books still on my TBR cart that I'm like, you bought this because you saw everyone reading it and you didn't want to be left out. I've said this in a video before. I get extreme FOMO. I get FOMO if I don't go to class and I'm like, what am I missing out on in class? So I'm trying to get rid of that extreme FOMO for books because you don't need to read everything, and that's okay. You don't need to read exactly what everyone else is reading to be considered a reader or a booktuber or a book talker. To keep my physical TBR below, I don't want it to be a certain number. I want my physical TBR to fit on my TBR cart. It's essentially a 3-tiered cart, and I want all of my physical TBR to fit front facing, so I don't want to stack any on their sides. I don't want any on the back. Right now, it's currently overflowing, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of heavy lifting and work on that in the beginning of the year to even start to get it there. I want to end the year being like, yes, I tried my hardest to keep it there, and most of the time, I could fit all of the books on my cart. Another thing is I want to get out of the habit of thinking I need to own every single book. And again, this kind of goes along with intentionality, but I have this idea that I want this library that has every book I've ever read. But every book I've ever read is not necessarily good or something that I want to look at every day. Like, I've read books that I'm like, I don't need that on my shelf because it wasn't good. I don't like the cover. Whatever the reason may be, whether it's a good reason or not, I don't need to own every book. It's not practical. It's expensive, and someone else could own it that would love it more than me. So I'm gonna do some unhauling in the near future, but again, being intentional not only with what I'm buying, but what books stay and continue to live on my shelves. This is another quite general goal, but I want to expand my reading tastes. In the past few months, I've kind of expanded what I wanted to read. Like the other month, like in October, I think, I bought The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which I would have never bought like a year or 2 ago because I had no interest in reading classics. It's not that I want to get myself to like classics. It's more like if I think I will like it, why would I stop myself from reading it just because it's not a genre that typically fits into my taste? And it's not that I do that really intentionally, but it's more like, when I go to the bookstore, I never venture into the classic section because I don't need to buy anything there. No, go look, see if something interests you, and if it does, read it. I just want to challenge myself a little bit more as a reader. In general, this year, I think my word is going to be intentionality. I've said it like a bajillion times in this video. Really think before I impulsively buy something. or read something or put pressure on myself to do something that maybe isn't critical. This video has gotten a little bit deeper than I really intended it to be. However, like I said earlier, I have a total of 3 hours to film, edit, and get this up. Thank you so much for watching Bookmas Day 10. If you've watched every Bookmas video this year, if this is your first video, thank you so much for being here. I genuinely love posting on BookTube. I've done this for, God knows, like 10 years now, probably. I did it in middle school. Like I started posting in middle school. Regardless, I feel like this has just been quite a chatty video. So if you have anything you'd like to chat about in the comments, feel free to do so. I'd love to hear anything you have to say. Check out my Etsy that's linked in the description if you're looking for a gift for yourself or another reader. Check out the rest of Bookmas. I will see you tomorrow for day 11, which I think is a reading vlog. I hope to see you then. I love you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.